Hello and welcome to the Ravenswood City School District regular meeting of January 16th, 2025. The board meeting is called to order at 6:04 p.m. We will begin with roll call. Trustee Bloom,
Here.
trustee Latu is present at the moment. Trustee Shibomani here, trustee Tavera, and I myself am present, so we have quorum. We will move on to the item number 2, which is the approval of the agenda. Do we have any questions or comments regarding the agenda? As I see none, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution passes 4-0. The agenda passes. The approval of the agenda passes 4-0. We will now move on to closed session. Do we have any members of the public who would like to address anything that is agendized for the closed session?
Through the chair, I have no speaker cards.
Perfect. So since we have none, we will adjourn to closed session at 6:05 p.m. Welcome back. We will reconvene open session at 6:51 PM. For item, or for closed session, we discussed the item, but no action was taken. We will now move on to item number 6 from the floor. Do we have any public speakers?
Through the chair, I have no speaker cards.
Perfect. As I see none, we will move on to the consent agenda, which is item number 7. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, this item passes 4-0. From there, we will move on to item number 8, which is board reports and communication.
Through the chair. I was able to attend the Los Robles family meeting last night, and we were able to look at some of our data around reading and just talk about what we are doing to make sure that all of our readers are on pace to learn to read and learn their letters and sounds. And so I'm looking forward to more of those conversations with parents. So thank you, Principal Alex, for doing that for us. And we also talked about the different budget pieces and just reviewed it as a school. So thank you for sharing those things. I will also say there is the tree planting that is happening at Los Robles on Monday, on our day off. So if anybody wants to come help plant some trees in front of Los Robles Ronald McNair Academy on their holiday weekend, that is something that we are doing in the morning from, I believe, 9 to 1. There is also a Know Your Rights seminar in English and Spanish that is happening next week. And I believe there are other ones that will be coming at the YMCA as well, I believe on Tuesday nights, that is going to be hosted by Councilmember Abrika and other members of the community. So those are some things that I know are coming up. I don't have the exact details of some of them, but sure.
Well, Trustee Bloom took both of my reports as well. I was also able to attend the SSC LULAC meeting on Tuesday night. So thank you, Principal Quesada, for the welcoming environment and good advertising. Because my kid got that flyer and she said pizza and ice cream and an activity. We're totally going. It's the time for the meeting. And so we had to go because she wanted to go. But yes, thank you so much. From here, we will move on to our item number 9, which is superintendent's report.
Thank you, trustees. This evening, we are also accompanied by our site administrators who will be attending our meetings moving forward. Our superintendent report always starts with our promise, our Ravenswood promise, and the work of each and every one of us, which is to create a transformative educational experience for our students. One of our tenets of our learner profile is finding joy in who I am and the communities that I'm a part of. And so let's go ahead and start with that. And wanted to highlight on slide 4, some of our photos from our walkthroughs that we were able to participate with principals. We connect with them bi-weekly. The first is from Los Robles Ronald McNair, where the teacher was implementing our Tier 1 curriculum and instruction. I got a kick out of this opportunity to engage with this student as they wrote fluently in a complete sentence in first grade about how the bed was very comfortable. And I said, I read it as caliente. And he said, and this student is an English speaker originally and is learning Spanish very well, apparently, and said, no, calientita. Did I say that right, Alex? No, calientita. I'm like, you are correct. I read that wrong and you spelled it correctly. So it's really exciting to see our students become bilingual at such a young age, biliterate, And then the last two pictures are from the walkthroughs that I did this morning with Rhonda White, where we were observing the Universal Tier 2 time, where we hold language development for English, and then also students receiving intervention for reading. And so the teacher in the middle, Miss Tiffany, is teaching SIPs, and they were reviewing root words as well as prefixes and suffixes. And then in the last photo is Miss Rivera, who is supporting with English language development in actually all three of the classes. Even though there was implementation of curriculum, the teachers used and leaned in with their experience to make the lesson very engaging. And all the kids are engaged. In the middle class there, the photo, every student was participating. And what you don't see are students who are independently working on their laptop for specific programs designed for them, lessons that are designed for them, as it modifies based on their performance. And then in the last photo during ELD, you have students responding exactly the intent of the exercise in complete sentences, and Ms. Rivera preparing the students of what the examiner for their ELAC is going to do, so they know what to expect. And it's very encouraging to see not only the implementation of our curriculum, but also the excitement kids have by feeling successful. Moving on to our next is approaching our learning with growth mindset. And I wanted to take the opportunity to do some reflection before I share some bright spots and data. So before I highlight that, I want to take a moment just to reflect on how we as a district approach our work. And just as we expect our students to embrace their learning with the growth mindset, we as educators must also adopt this mindset. And this includes being reflective, open to constructive feedback, and willing to adjust an approach to achieve the best outcomes, even if we think our approach is best. And as your superintendent, I recognize the importance of modeling this growth mindset in response to my most recent message about collective responsibility to implement structured literacy instruction, focus on foundational literacy. I've taken time to reflect on how my intent didn't fully align with the impact I was expecting it should have across the district. It would have. And so while some found the message motivating and aligned with our priorities, others felt it was punitive and discouraging. And so this feedback, all feedback is invaluable, and I'm committed to learning from it. So moving forward, I will be more intentional based on the feedback. I will be more intentional about how I deliver expectations, ensuring my communication inspires and encourages while holding us accountable still to our goals. And so much like a teacher reflecting on their own lessons and why it might not have connected with their students, I too will reflect on how my messaging can be better connect with our team. And as it states there, without self-reflection, we cannot be the change that our students. So the expectations that we have set for foundational literacy still remain critical. And as they're rooted in our shared commitment, they are rooted in our shared commitment to improving student outcomes. So with that, I would like to go ahead and highlight some of our student outcomes on our most recent middle of the year assessment data and share some bright spots. And so this slide here is our results of letter name recognition for kindergartners recognizing the names of letters. And here you'll notice the percentage of students that know 20+ lowercase letter names. You see the percentage of the students, then you see the teacher. I'm sorry, I'm going from right to left as I'm looking at the numbers, focusing on the student outcomes. And then you can see which school, which grade, and which teacher. Again, these are just bright spots. So we want to acknowledge the educators that are also yielding these outcomes at this moment in time. For our next slide, these are DIBEL results for TK through second grade, as well as the Spanish version, which is Lectura. And this is the percentage of students who are showing proficiency from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. And you can see the change in proficiency for each of these classes, which is quite exciting about the amount of growth. And then when we look at the middle of the year assessments, at this point in time, when we look at the mastery test pass rates for our SIPS intervention program, you can see our goal is for there to be a 90% pass rate. And you can see how some of our classes and teachers who are leading these SIPS programs are doing across our schools. What's really exciting is how our SIPS intervention is impacting benchmark assessments in the phonics domain. For 3rd through 8th grade students, you can see the percentage of students who were performing 3 years or more below grade level decreasing. So, for example, Mr. Moreno's 4th grade class at Castaño, there were 54% of students who were 3 years or more below grade level. Now there's only 25% of students. What's really exciting to see is if you look at the very bottom of this slide, Miss Guelt's 8th grade class. Miss Guelt is a student who teaches students with disabilities. And this proves that if students are receiving structured literacy instruction around phonics and very clear, explicit instruction, all students can improve in their literacy. And in her class where she's serving students with disabilities and they were performing 3 years or more below, now 88% were, now there's only 20%. It's significant with the impact of the instruction that we're delivering. And then lastly, the slide here shows annual typical growth. So in Miss Applegate's class, the median is 87% towards their annual typical growth. If there were 21 students in this class, there would be 10 students who were either at 87% typical growth or above. And there could be 10 students below that 87%. But if you look at some students like in Ms. Beaumont's class, we have many students in Ms. Beaumont's class where they're 3.5 years, they're making 3.5 years of progress. And then on the right column, the very last column, percentage of students who already met their end of year growth, you can see actually the percentage of Ms. Applegate. So at least 11 students reached their target if there were 21 students in that class. And if you were to look at Ms. Baldini's class, for example, of the 63%, they were either at 182% or higher, beyond the 100% annual. So even with reflection, I do want to reiterate, if the message was lost, what the message was when we sent out that video, as well as my message from site to site, is that we must remain committed to upholding instructional expectations. So our reading outcomes must improve, and we must collectively own this reality and commit to change. Additionally, every educator must align with implementing Tier 1 and Tier 2 reading curricula with purpose and with precision. And remain data-driven, knowing not only the social emotional well-being of our students and their needs, but knowing their academic performance through using curriculum-based assessments, formative assessments, and using our benchmark assessments. And of course, using the data from this assessment to inform our instruction, our planning, our next step. And this is to ensure that we have not just the bright spots, but every classroom demonstrates the academic excellence and accelerated learning. In regards to school attendance, we are challenged a bit here. And so we are at right now this year at 91.7% annual average daily attendance. And you'll see on the right just some of the actions that we're taking to improve attendance. We are obviously trying to ensure that our schools are welcoming and inviting and engaging, that our lessons are as such as well. We're partnering with community-based organizations. We're partnering with Suchi. We're partnering with Anamatangi to reach out to families, to support families. And we're also creating incentives in addition to holding meetings with families and understanding circumstances to support. And sites are trying to be as creative as possible to create incentives, like using Cougar Paws and creating like handing out 5 Cougar Paws at the end of the week if you were there all week, or recognizing students who had excellent attendance with t-shirts and sending that home to the entire school community about the kiddos who are being recognized. And also just some classroom incentives as well. For the community to know if there is a certain amount of days, I'd be like, there's like 58 days of school days in a trimester, missing 3 days will get you to 95% average day routine. And it's not a lot of days you can miss for us to be able to hit that mark. It's just emphasizing the importance of coming to school every day is going to celebrate. And then in regards to our other big rock, which is talent, there's been a lot of work going on with our executive director, with Katina Valentine, as well as Austin Hudson, and whether we're establishing early hiring windows, ensuring that we're informed about the intent of folks returning so that we know how many vacancies we have, having conversations with individuals we want to ensure are staying, creating hiring incentives, establishing a committee to help with recruiting and onboarding. And then obviously also reaching out to schools. I think schools have already signed up for student teachers to come in and visit to see which school that they would like to be a student teacher, which is quite exciting. So there's a lot of different activities and initiatives that we're doing to ensure we have another successful year starting every class with a classroom certified teacher. And then lastly, we want to invite everybody for as we look at our other tenet of our learner profile, which is discover and explore with an open mind. Inviting the board to attend our Ravenswood School Promise Walk, as well as community members. I know I've sent an invite to Trustee Cruz, who represents our district, as well as some council members who've expressed interest in wanting to attend. If you know of any other community members to come join us, principals will be hosting their day on the 3rd and the 6th, showcasing data and us to be able to go in and provide feedback on the strengths and areas of opportunity as it relates to our learner profile and our focus on literacy, language literacy. And some good news as well, as we've been very creative on how to retain teachers, is that we need them to be able to live in the area. And so, as you know, the board gave us the direction to pursue the 320 Sheridan Drive apartment project. And this past week, or this past Tuesday, Assistant Superintendent William Eager joined the Alliant team at the Menlo Park City Planning Commission meeting on Tuesday, 4-hour meeting, and Will was in person. Our CSEA president, Ken Cheadle, our RTA president, Nicole Sullivan, and I had the privilege of speaking on behalf of the district via Zoom. We zoomed in, and we emphasized the significant benefits of this affordable housing project, highlighting how it will help retain talented staff and strengthen our school programs and communities. I am deeply grateful for our assistant superintendent's dedication and persistence, and more importantly, just the strategic approach to this project. Will's efforts have been just instrumental in ensuring this piece of land provides value not only to Ravenswood, but also to the greater surrounding. And so Alliant serving as they were the applicants as they presented to the proposal to the commission. And the commission approved it with a 5-1 vote. And this is a major step forward in supporting our educators.
Thank you, Superintendent. We will now move on to we will now move on to item number 10, which is a consideration to approve resolution number SY 2514 for board member excused absences for trustee Latu. Is there a motion to approve item 10? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, resolution number SY 25. Who knew a number could start with S? Number SY 25-14, board members excuse absences. Whereas Education Code 35120885 authorizes that each member of the governing board of the Ravenswood City School District, et cetera, now therefore be resolved that the board hereby finds that trustee Menike Latu is excused from attendance of the regular board meeting held today, January 16, 2025.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any all opposed? All right, the resolution passes 4-0. And with that, we will move on to item number 11. The next regular board meeting will be held on January 30th, 2025 at 6 p.m. And open session will be approximately 6:45 p.m. And we will adjourn today's meeting at 7:13 p.m.